Hey guys, welcome to episode 25 of Kingdom Business TV. Super pumped that you are joining me for today's episode. 25 is a bit of a milestone. That time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? Let me just make sure that we are off here, and then I'll be able to read your comments. Guys, as soon as you jump on, let me know where you are. I like to see where you are around this fine country. So as soon as you jump on, let me know where you are, and I'm going to see your comments. We're going to be teaching on the tablet. We're going to be teaching from the Bible. I'm going to be taking your questions, and ultimately, we're doing giveaways again. Why? I don't know. I quite like it. So here's how you can win something. You literally just have to ask a question. So to ask a question on Kingdom Business TV, it's really easy. Just put your phone number in the comments or send a message to the Business Greenhouse Facebook page with your number, and my team will reach out to you. They'll dial you. They'll patch you through to me. I'll be able to hear you, and then I'll be able to answer your question. But remember, we're doing giveaways. We got books. We got stuff from Christine Kane. We got a health book on the Daniel plan with a bit of Rick Warren's help written there. We've got Seth Godin. We've got a book on passion and grit, how to win friends, influence people, and the richest man who ever lived. You could win that book simply by calling in with me, and I'm going to answer those questions. So appreciate you guys heaps for joining me. All right. Well, anyway, this bottom book here, that's not part of the giveaway because that's my Bible. All right. Scripture of the day. The idea here is we take some of this book and we put it into a business context. Very fitting, right? It's Thursday. Tomorrow is the start of the Easter long weekend. That time in our year where our faith makes sense. Maybe not so much the original disciples. For a couple of days in there, they would have been questioning what's going on. But for us, on the other side of it, we know what takes place. And it is a very joyous time. Very, 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 very joyous time. So, given that, then we should look at something that took place around the death and resurrection of Jesus and see what we can dig around in there. So, for me to do that, though, I've got to find the bit that I need. Hang on. Crikey. All right. Got it. Good. All right. So one of the really cool stories from Scripture is Joseph of Arimathea. Okay. Now you might be thinking, who the heck's that guy? He plays a very important role in history. So if you go to John 19:38, John 19:38, and I'm going to go somewhere else just to build a case. It says this, after this, so obviously, so Jesus has gone to the cross and died, veil torn, all of that story. And this is what happens. After this, Joseph of Arimathea, being a disciple of Jesus, and then it says, but secretly, interestingly, Joseph of Arimathea, who was a distant relative of Jesus, okay, let me see if I can nail the family tree. He is likely to have been uncle to Mary, Jesus' mother. Something like that, okay? So he knew a little bit. He actually, he walked with Jesus through his life. But he was a secret one because of the persecution, because he was a marketplace man, all right? So he was a disciple of Jesus, but secretly, for fear of the Jews, he asked Pilate that he might take away the body of Jesus. And Pilate gave him permission. Now here's that right there. Here we have a follower of Jesus who has, so he's been a bit secret in his following, but in the moment, he had the boldness and the influence from the marketplace to be able to go to Pilate and ask that he could take Jesus' body down from the cross and prepare it for burial. That's no small thing, that he had that kind of standing in society. So he came and took the body of Jesus, and Nicodemus, who at first came to Jesus by night, because he was also a bit scared, bringing a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 100 pounds worth. They took the body of Jesus, bound it in straps of linen with spices, as the custom the Jews do. And then, he got the tomb in the garden, and he put Jesus' body in there and put the rock over, okay? So that's an amazing story about a marketplace person who stepped up and did his assignment right when it was needed. But just so that we can understand who he is, if we go to Matthew 27:57, now when evening had come, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who himself had also become a disciple of Jesus. So what do we know about Joseph of Arimathea? He was a wealthy man. That's important. All these people who say, oh, God's not interested in money. Well, it's not more important than our salvation. You and I get that. But here we are. Here's somebody that had the money, but also the influence to be able to go to the governor and say, can I have the body of the person you've just crucified? And so forth, right? So that is important to me. Now, Joseph of Arimathea was a tin merchant. He was a businessman, wealthy businessman. In fact, in my research, I was able to find out that one of his roles was the equivalent of the Minister of Fine Metals, the equivalent of that in the old days. So he was a noble person, and it's interesting to me that he kept his, the fact that he was a disciple, he was a bit secretive, because people would be like, oh, that's a terrible thing if you deny Christ before man, all that sort of stuff. But here we are. Here's a man who was able to fly covert, and then when it mattered most and he needed to step up and do something, he was overt. And I think that's a very, very, very powerful strategy. So here we are, it's Easter. We are reminded of the events that took place all that time ago. And here's what we can distill from that story at the very least. If he wasn't wealthy and he wasn't influential, he could have done none of what he did. You and I have an obligation to build businesses, to use our influence to advance the kingdom of God. Hence, Kingdom Business TV, right? That's why we're here. But that Joseph is just one small practical example of that playing out all that time ago. And through his one act, he was able to change culture. You and I need to be doing the same thing, right? Using our finance, using our influence. Remember, it's not ours and our life is not ours. So all of it belongs to the King. And so we use it for the purpose of the kingdom. Cool, cool, cool. If anything popped out of that lot, I want you to put something in the comments box for me, all right? Now, we don't want you just lurking in the background, right? Not paying attention. What was your little thing from that little teaching that we had there? I want to see it because I'm watching you watching me. Sounds like a song. I want to comment in the comments box from that. Also, I want you to share the show for me. Just simply find the share button on your device and hit share, and it will alert more people to see the show. And that would mean the world to me if you would help me in such a way. Share the show. Tell me a comment from that little bit of teaching. All right. By the way, if you've got a question, send us your phone number or put your phone number in the comments. One of the team will reach out to you. I'll answer your question, and I'm going to give you one of these cool books. We've got a nice array of colours here, right? Nice array of colours. All right, you get to choose the book that you would like to take home. We'll post it to you. You don't have to take it home. You don't have to come here and grab it to take it home. We'll post it to you. It's okay. We'll save you the trip. All right. Let's talk about numbers. You got somebody on the line, Craig, or are you?
We've got some ready if you want.
All right, hold them there. 2 minutes. Can I have a up here? Thank you, Craig. All right. So one of the things I like to do is teach you a little something, a little businessy something on these episodes so that you get some take home for your time. Appreciate that. Guys, let me know. When you first jump on, let me know where you are. And then if you've got a question, patch me through. All right. So one of the things that a lot of people are doing quite badly is knowing the numbers in their business. And so many small businesses literally don't see value in tracking numbers. And yet, if you go to big business, right? If you go to the Australian Stock Exchange, the top 200 companies, every single one of those companies is having monthly board meetings, making decisions around numbers with their chairmans, executive, non-executive directors, all of those people in a room every month, planning through, the numbers, like reporting on what's taken place, forecasting forward. So why is it that big business do that incredibly well, and they do it because that's how they make their decisions, and yet small business don't have the discipline to be able to sit there and measure their numbers? It's madness, by the way. At the very best, it's madness, okay? And don't sit there and think, well, it's okay, I know the numbers now that it's small. When it gets bigger, I'll start measuring my numbers. No. That's like putting tomato seeds in the ground and expecting oranges down the line, okay? That's a bad idea. You need to have the discipline now so that you are the kind of business person that can be trusted with the bigger business that you are aiming for, all right? So here's an interesting thing that you could do super quickly each month to start to make educated decisions. All right, so we have, let's call this a profit and loss, okay? We're talking here about accounting and knowing your numbers. On a typical profit and loss statement, we have a few different sections, okay? The top one, obviously, being income, okay? And then you'll have a number over here. Now, you may have that broken down into multiple departments, right? We have about 5 business units inside our company, and so we report the income of those independently. Why? Because I want to grow them independently, because the compound effect of growing 5 small areas means the top line revenue of the company grows exponentially, okay? So we got some income up in this place, all right? You guys are awesome. Make sure you share up the show. And then after income, we have COGS, all right? Cost of goods sold, okay? So you have some line items and you have an amount. Cost of goods sold are the variable expenses that you incur, and you only incur them as a result of making that income, okay? So these two are intrinsically linked. These are costs that you only occur, they're variable, meaning that if you didn't turn over any money for the month, you wouldn't have these expenses, okay? These are linked to the fact that you did that work and made the income, okay? So they're variable. Underneath there, you'll have your general expenses, and you'll have a whole bunch of items, and then you will have a total. General expenses are fixed expenses, right? Like rent. You'll be paying rent whether you make any money this month or not. Phone, you'll be paying for your phone, full-time wages, they're all going to go in here and so forth, right? So, your internet, your business coaching costs and things like that, right? They're all going to go in here. And then at the bottom, you either get a profit or a loss, okay? And so here's what's interesting for me. You can pull this report out of your accounting program in 2 minutes, okay? And you should. But what I like to do as a really quick hack to get benchmarks in my business is, and you can do this from your software accounting program too, you don't even really have to go and create it, but you want to start to get percentages, right? Percentages column. So if my income is 100%, what percentage of my income is my cost of goods, okay? Let's say my cost of goods, let's say this is the month of April, let's say my cost of goods were 26%. Great. And then you start to come down. What are the few things that you really need to measure? Maybe wages. What's wages? 38%. What's your advertising/marketing budget? 9%. Okay? The reason why we do this is because if you create this document every single month with the percentages next of the areas you don't have to, there's very little point measuring say your phone bill, because it'll be 0.4% and then it'll probably be a slight tiny variation, okay? So probably no point in doing that. However, it's the key areas that you really want to measure. It's the little hinges that swing big doors. And then can you imagine your business if every single month you sat down, and instead of watching some really bad YouTube video that makes you giggle, right? Some cat video or some complete waste of your life, instead of doing that for 5 minutes, you actually sat down and looked at this month versus last month versus the month before versus the month before. What if you printed this document and had it in a folder and you actually monitored them every single month? During the time it takes to have one coffee in a month, after you've reconciled, you could sit down and go, okay, right, so my cost of goods was 26%. Hang on a minute, it's normally only 22, 21. What happened? And you can catch a problem before it becomes a problem, all right? And there could be a good explanation for why it's higher. right? There may not be, okay? So, it might be that your wages is normally 38%, but it blew out to 48. And then you go, oh, that's okay. It's Easter and we put on more staff, right? So there might be an explanation, but there may not be. For example, maybe your suppliers have started creeping up their prices and they didn't tell you, and now you found out that your COGS are up, which means you can go back and negotiate with your suppliers and get a better rate. Otherwise, you would have lost that money, but this tells you early. This gives you the feedback loop that you need on a regular basis to make educated decisions on your business, all right? There are more numbers that you should measure, and I make our clients measure more numbers than this. But if you just started measuring this, you'll be able to make smarter decisions, you'll be able to forward focus, and of course you're going to build your business because of it. And so that's what you need to be doing. In fact, I'll go so far as to say, if you're not measuring your numbers, I don't think you can call yourself a good steward of your business. Sorry if that hurts a little bit. Hashtag sorry not sorry. All right, Craig, get me some caller, please. Get me somebody calling in. Myrna. All right, guys, make sure that you put your phone number in if you've got a question, or send a message.
Good afternoon, this is Myrna.
Myrna, it's Wez Hone. You're on Kingdom Business TV.
Hi, Wes. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Excellent, thank you.
Perfect. What can I help you with today?
Hey, Wes, I actually had a quick question in relation to, I guess this question, this answer has come up quite a lot of times, is I really don't like working on Sundays. And I just wondered what your response might be to that.
Okay, good. Well, I don't like working Sundays either. I personally, just not a fan, right? That's the day that we go to church. That's the day we normally hang out with somebody for lunch. That's the day that we kind of maybe hit the beach in the afternoon, whatever. But my reason for not wanting to work Sundays is purely because of a lifestyle choice. What I don't think we want to get into is a theological debate around working Sundays, okay? So, because there's I think it's Chick-fil-A, one of the massive burger chains in the US. They don't open Sunday. Truett, I think his name is Truett, S. Truett, Kathy or something is their founder, and he just made a decision a long time ago, we don't work Sundays because it's the Lord's Day. Fine. And you know what? He may have been graced to be able to make that decision and run a business that way. And so for him, he's made the decision that Sabbath is Sunday. The problem I've got is that, you didn't ask the question from a theological standpoint, but a lot of people do, and a lot of people get caught up on it. To me, the question we've got to ask ourselves is the Sabbath made for God, or is the Sabbath made for man? Is it a rule we're supposed to follow to please God, or was it a gift that we have been given to enjoy? And I think it's the latter. I think the Sabbath is a gift for man. And so whether you take that on a Tuesday, or whether you take that on a Sunday, or whether you take that on a Saturday, remember half the Christian faith celebrate their Sabbath on a Saturday and half of them are on a Sunday. So there's even some contention there about which day. I think that if we're trying to make it a day, I think we've missed the mark. I think the concept of a Sabbath day rest is a gift that we're supposed to take. God did it, we should do it. And so, for me, I don't work Sunday. But here's the thing. If I needed to work Sunday, I'd work Sunday. It's not it's not some, ritual that I have to do to not work Sunday. If I worked on a Sunday for some reason, then of course I would probably take a day off in the week, because I'd want to get my Sabbath day rest, but I don't have to tick the box and do it on a Sunday.
Okay. Yep, that's very interesting, because the response to someone that I spoke to was from a religious perspective. That I just don't like working on a Sunday, because Sunday is a day, for going to church and I just don't want to give up that day. But then I go to church on a Tuesday night, and I go to church on a Friday night.
Exactly, and I mean, we should be the church 24/7. But interestingly, the same person that thinks that you can't work on a Sunday, basically can never go into hospitality.
Yes.
And that doesn't make sense to me. That God would say, all my children are equal, except you can't be in hospitality and work Sundays. You can't run a cafe. You can't run a restaurant. It's probably the busiest day of your week, depending on where you are. So it just doesn't make sense that we put God in such a small box, to say that that's the Lord's day.
Absolutely.
There are plenty of people I know who get more rest than most, and they work all weekend, and then they just make sure that they have enough time to stay healthy and be with their family and worship the Lord during the week. I think he created all 7 days, so I don't care. I don't think he cares which day we take as rest and focus on him. I think, anyway, I think so much of it's a man-made construct. And so to me, it's a gift from God to be able to, down tools and take a rest and focus on him. And if that's a Tuesday, fine. If it's a Sunday, fine. I don't think it matters to God.
Yes. Yes. Well, he wants us 24/7 anyway. He doesn't just want us on a Sunday.
Exactly. Like even saying that's the Lord's day is really interesting language. It's like the Lord gets 1 day of my week and I get the other 6. All right? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yes.
Doesn't make sense.
Yes. So I totally agree with you, and I kind of responded in the same way, but it was very interesting. The kind of the debate that went around it,
Like there's a phenomenal church on the Gold Coast, Metro. I don't go there, but they do it. I don't know if they do or did. They do a Saturday afternoon church experience, right? And I went along once, and it was pumping, right? And I was like, great.
Yes.
There might be a whole group of people that get Saturday off and don't get Sunday off. It's like, great. And then they can go to church and worship the Lord.
Exactly.
So anyway, I'm not really in for old covenant type rules. I like to find a way to look at it through a different set of lenses and appreciate the freedom of what the new covenant gives us.
Yes. Yes.
All right, I'm going to give you a book, Myrna, because that's what we do on this show. We like to give things away. So I'm going to read them out to you, and then you can let me know which one you would like. I've got Unashamed by Christine Kane.
Oh,
She's
wow.
awesome. We've got the Daniel Plan.
My goodness, Wes, it's been a whole month of giveaways for me. It's just amazing.
Well, you should just keep it going. So we've got the Daniel Plan, right? We've got a book by Seth Godin about marketing. We've got a book about passion and grit, which it looks like a pretty good read. We've got How to Win Friends and Influence People, and we've got a book by a bit of an unknown author, but The Richest Man Who Ever Lived. Which one would you like, Myrna?
The marketing one, thank you.
From Seth Godin, probably one of the greatest legends of marketing. All right, Myrna, my team will reach out to you and grab your address, and we'll post this thing out to you as soon as we can.
Fabulous.
Thanks for your call.
Thank you so much,
Bless you heaps.
And thanks for the surprise gift. Thank you.
That's all right. Cheers.
Bye.
Now, looking at the comments, we've got a callers. You call in, I help you, I give you one of these. Happy days. Happy days. Are we straight on it? Yes, we are. Appreciate you joining me. We've all got things to do, and you're following me here, which is wonderful. Pauline?
Hey, Pauline.
Pauline, it's Wez Hone. You're on Kingdom Business TV.
G'day, Wes. How you going?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm well.
All right, what can I help you with?
Well, I received a quite uncomfortable email today. Mm-hmm. I have a client that is a new client that we've been working with. He's got some challenges in how he manages his money, and he doesn't always do things above the line, let's say. And so as bookkeepers, we have come across money, and he's, for example, that was $9,000 paid in cash wages, and he wanted to take that as an expense, let alone all the problems that come with doing that. And we have refused and said that we can't journal it that way. And we have also come across some other discrepancies. Now, we found some discrepancies that were happening before we were in the books, and we've brought them to his attention, and he's had a bit of a rant at one of my staff, and he sent an email today saying, I want to disengage, which is actually very fine for me because it resolves the problem. My question to you is, I'm wondering how to handle the conversation, what to send back, because he's fairly well known. I work in regional New South Wales. He has a not small enterprise here and has a lot to do with my other clients.
Okay.
So I'm quite concerned about that.
Well, I mean, I don't know what your bookkeeper's code makes you do, but you have a duty to do it right. Okay, so, you know, I think we'll go back to how to deal with it in a second. You know, I think it's just a decision to make. Do you want to be the company that is above reproach and holds to a high standard, which obviously I'm guessing you do? If that's the case, you are going to lose customers and clients from time to time based on that. You just will. I think the trade-off is you'll get and keep more because you're that way, right? Because no one really wants the ATO tapping on their shoulder, you know, or the fear of that. Do you have a penalty clause for them to get out? Like, is there, you know, do they have to pay some months of fees or something if they want to terminate early or something?
They pay a month. Well, actually, he's on a weekly reoccurring payment plan. So his penalty to get out isn't very much. Normally, well, it's to do with the payment plan. So whatever you have remitted in the payment plan, you know, if you pay me on the 15th of a month and you want out on the 17th, you don't get that prorated back.
Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, well, I mean, that's definitely right. I wondered whether you say, listen, it's 30 days or 60 days notice or 90 days notice so that we can wrap things up, and then you would just charge them accordingly.
Yeah, only for subscriptions. Yeah, only for
nice.
subscriptions,
Okay,
not
nice.
for my...
So how do you deal with it? I don't think you should start by emailing back. I'm not a fan. I think you should call this person and just I think, you know, pleasantly state your case and just kind of go, hey, got your email. I'm fully okay with that. I'm going to do everything I can to make your transition simple and easy. I understand your reason for leaving. Obviously, I hope you understand mine. That, you know, it's just not an area that I want to get into. And I think just by having the conversation, what it stops is it stops the unknown conversation inside people's heads, right? So if you just email back, that could be read in 700 different ways from the same person, right? And also, you know, they just start lying to themselves and going, oh, they couldn't care less, see that. Whereas when you talk and you actually call them, even if it's for 60 seconds, it actually clears a lot of the ambiguity about, you know, I guess your intent or what you may be feeling. So I think the call is just understand, I'm going to make this nice and easy for you to move on to somebody else. Let me see where I can help you. I just want you to understand that, you know, I just wasn't prepared to do that and there's no hard feelings from my end. You have that conversation, then you put it into an email. That person is far less likely to go running around town and saying anything negative about you because you just had this pleasant conversation, you know. And if they go on a rant, you just say, I understand. That's why I'm giving you your wishes and letting you go. But just no hard feelings from my point of view. It's just very hard to throw mud when somebody's been nice the whole way through. And I think in a way it's like damage control for your brand if you're worried that this big business person who deals with your other clients might start gossiping. I think an email back is risky. I think a phone call back just eliminates all of the what ifs.
Okay. All right.
And what's interesting, I tell you what's interesting about that is if this guy is a strong guy, and it sounds like he is, probably nobody would think to do that because they're scared of this perception of this big businessman. Just by doing it, I reckon you'll end up with props in his mind. He'll be like, yeah, okay, this chick's cool. She's prepared to state her case. And I don't know. In a way, it's pushing back a little bit. It's kind of saying, listen, it's okay. We can part ways, but you've got to hear it from me. And I think that's only ever a good thing.
All right. Well, get everybody out there to pray for me because he has a habit of going off his chops. So,
listen, you are only responsible for saying what you want to say. If he starts going off his chops, I mean, obviously, first of all, you've got to put your big girl pants on and make the phone call. If he goes off his chops, it's just as simple as saying, hey, I don't want to be rude to cut you off. I didn't want to call up to have an argument. I just wanted to say I'm going to help you move on. I'll let you get back to your busy day. Bless you heaps. Goodbye. Right? Just say that, and then he'll be like, oh, okay, great.
Yeah, okay. No worries.
I just think be on the receiving end of that. No one can hate you for being like that. No one can dislike you for being like that. That's just nice.
I am nice. All right. Thank you.
Exactly. And you're going to help him move on to another bookkeeper. But you don't have to just lay over and do an email back. I think that's a bad idea.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
You're awesome. Cheers. All right. We're dialing.
VJ's here for the books.
Yeah.
Hello.
VJ, Wez Hone, you're on Kingdom Business TV.
Hey, how you going, Wez?
Good, mate. What can I help you with?
Good. Well, what a quick question. So, as a startup business, should I focus on a niche? Should I put all my energy and kind of focusing on one niche?
Great. Remind
Because I hear a lot.
Remind us all again what you do.
So, I'm an online personal trainer. So, I'm a fitness coach.
Online PT, good.
Yep. And what I've heard from, all around, obviously in the past, that, okay, you have to have a niche. You have to have a niche.
Okay, what niche would you pick if you were going to pick one?
So in my experience at 4 years of PT, I have been training mainly women
Okay.
who want to lose weight, and most of them are moms that I've done in the past. And I think that's the experience that I've had.
Is that the niche that you think you would go to?
Yes,
Okay.
that's the niche that I want to step into more in terms of online.
Okay, good. So I asked that question because I wanted to check that the niche you're going to go into was a good one. That's obviously a massive audience of people that they're a great fit. So that's a good idea. Listen, to answer your question, yes, you should niche, but you can't pick one, right? Yes, you should niche.
Okay.
But if you only have one, see what most people will tell you in my game is you've got to pick a niche. Yes, you've got to pick a niche, but if you only pick one niche, you're leaving way too much money on the table. So what I would suggest to you is pick one niche and start with that niche, but then as soon as you've got some runs on the board, pick another niche and market it. See, the reason why you niche is so that you can talk in the language of that prospect, right? If you don't niche, you're forced to put out generic content. If you niche down to women and mums, you can start to talk about the needs of women and mums. The problem is that that's not a business. I think that once you've got some runs on the board and you've got products with women and mums, then come and pick a different group and then go and do the same thing and then pick a different group and do the same thing, okay? Apple don't just sell products to spotty teenage 16-year-olds, right? Because they wouldn't make enough money if that's what they did. Apple have a niche with spotty 16 teenagers, with graphic designers, with schools and government agencies, and they market them all independently according to the needs and the language of that niche. So yes, you can pick one, but you can't stick with one because you leave too much money on the table.
Okay.
Awesome, man.
Well, that actually helps quite a lot.
Thanks for your call.
Cool.
Bless you.
No worries. Thank you. Bless you. Bye.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, guys, let's do a quick moment of review with episode 25. What was the one thing that jumped out to you on this episode? Please put it in the comments below. I want the feedback loop from you guys about the stuff that's popping. What was the thing that jumped out to you? Please pop it in the comments because I can see them. All right? I can see them here. All right. See, Pauline wants us to surprise her with a book. Okay. Maybe after I've read this one, we can send it out to her. Maybe that's the go. The surprise is it's dog-eared, written up, marked, coloured, highlighted. All right, guys. Happy Easter. You know what? It's an amazing time of year. I hope that you spend more time in the Word. I hope you spend more time talking to Jesus. I hope that you catch up with good friends, drink coffee, hang out, get some sunshine, whatever it is you want to do, and just take some time to get some rest. That's a wrap on episode 25. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.